The distortion hit without warning. One moment, the Death Star hung in stable orbit above the construction yards at Scarif, its massive bulk eclipsing the planet below like a mechanical moon. The next, reality twisted. Sensors screamed, gravity fluctuated, and every officer on the command bridge felt their inner ear protest as the laws of physics briefly forgot how they were supposed to work. Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin gripped the command railing, his aristocratic features remaining composed despite the violation of natural law occurring around him. Decades of Imperial service had taught him that showing weakness, even to cosmic forces beyond his control, was unacceptable. "Report," he commanded, his voice cutting through the alarm klaxons with the authority of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. Chief Astrogation Officer Dane stumbled to his console, his fingers flying across controls that were displaying readings that made no sense. "Sir, we've experienced a massive spatial displacement. Exact distance unknown. Stars are wrong. Constellations don't match any Imperial charts. We're not in the outer rim. We're not in the known galaxy at all." "Impossible," Tarkin stated flatly. "Hyperspace accidents don't—" "This wasn't hyperspace, sir," Dane interrupted, then immediately regretted his breach of protocol. "Our hyperdrive wasn't active. This was something else. A tear in space-time itself. We've been transported. The physics are beyond anything in Imperial records." Tarkin's jaw tightened. Transported, displaced across unknown distances to an unknown location. The Death Star, the Empire's ultimate weapon, the manifestation of Imperial might, had been plucked from its rightful place like a child's toy and deposited in alien space. Unacceptable. Heavy footsteps echoed across the bridge. Officers instinctively stepped aside as Darth Vader approached, his black armor reflecting the emergency lighting, his respirator breathing its mechanical rhythm. The Dark Lord of the Sith moved to stand beside Tarkin, his masked gaze fixed on the view screen showing unfamiliar stars. "I sense disturbance," Vader said, his voice carrying its usual mechanical resonance. This displacement was not natural. It was deliberate, purposeful, and we are not alone here. As if summoning them through the Force itself, the sensor console erupted with proximity warnings. "Contact!" the sensor officer shouted. "Bearing 270, distance 12,000 kilometers. A single vessel. Mass, approximately 200,000 metric tons. Configuration unknown. Power signature unknown. They're not using any technology in our database." "Visual," Tarkin commanded. The main view screen shifted, and there, hanging against the unfamiliar star field, was something that made even Imperial officers pause. The ship was massive, perhaps a quarter the Death Star's size, but still enormous by any conventional warship standard. Its design was sleek, predatory, all sharp angles and aggressive lines that suggested violence by pure aesthetics. The hull was dark, almost black, with golden accents that seemed to glow with barely contained energy. Weapons ports bristled along its surface, dozens of them, hundreds perhaps, all clearly visible, all clearly intended to be seen. This was not a ship designed for exploration or commerce. This was a ship designed to make other ships die. "Receiving transmission," the communications officer reported. "Audio and visual. They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. They're using basic, standard galactic basic. How is that possible?" "Put it through," Tarkin ordered. The view screen split, half showing the menacing warship, half showing its bridge. The bridge was darker than Imperial standard, lit by red-tinted displays and harsh overhead lighting that created dramatic shadows. The crew wore uniforms that were simultaneously familiar and wrong. Military dress, clearly authoritarian, but with design elements that suggested a different aesthetic philosophy than the Empire's. And in the command chair sat a woman who radiated authority like a supernova radiated light. She was perhaps 40, her features sharp and aristocratic, her eyes carrying the cold calculation of someone who'd risen through ranks by being more ruthless than her competitors. She wore a uniform of black and gold, military precision in every line, medals and rank insignia declaring her authority. Her posture was perfect. Her expression was absolute zero. When she spoke, her voice carried the cultured accent of someone educated in the halls of power. Unknown vessel. This is Captain Leandra Caney of the ISS Dominator, Terran Empire Starfleet, Conquest Division. You are in violation of Imperial space. Identify yourselves immediately and prepare to be boarded for inspection. Resistance will be met with immediate destruction. You have 30 seconds to comply. The transmission ended. No negotiation, no diplomatic overture, just ultimatum. Tarkin's eyebrow raised slightly, the closest he came to showing surprise. Terran Empire, Starfleet, Conquest Division, fascinating. They claim ownership of this space. They expect us to submit to inspection. How quaint. They're arming weapons, the tactical officer reported. Energy signatures increasing across their hull. Unknown weapon types, but power levels are significant, comparable to our heavy turbo laser batteries. A threat, Vader observed. They see the Death Star and believe they can make demands. Their arrogance is impressive and foolish. Tarkin stepped forward, his hands clasped behind his back in his characteristic pose. Open a channel. Let us educate these Terrans about the hierarchy of power. The communications officer nodded. Channel open, sir. Tarkin's face appeared on the Dominator's view screen. He knew it would. Knew the symmetry of first contact demanded visual reciprocity. He composed his features into the expression that had cowed senators, intimidated admirals, and made planetary governors reconsider rebellion. Absolute certainty in absolute authority. Captain Kane, I am Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin, commander of the Imperial Battle Station Death Star, acting in the name of Emperor Palpatine, supreme ruler of the Galactic Empire. Your demands are denied. Your claim to this space is rejected. You will stand down your weapons and provide full navigational data regarding our current location, or you will be destroyed. Yet you have 15 seconds to comply. He deliberately cut her time in half. A statement, a challenge. On the split screen, he saw Caney's expression flicker, not with fear, but with something that might have been amusement. She leaned forward slightly in her command chair, her eyes narrowing. Grand Moff Tarkin, impressive title, impressive vessel. Let me be clear about the situation you find yourself in. The Terran Empire has ruled this sector for decades. We have crushed rebellions, conquered alien species, and eliminated threats to imperial dominance that would make your emperor weep. Your battle station is indeed large, intimidating perhaps to those unfamiliar with true power. But we are not impressed by size. We are impressed by results. She gestured to someone off screen. Tactical. I give our guests a demonstration. On the Death Star's sensors, the Dominator's weapons achieved full charge. Then, with casual precision, the Terran warship fired. Not at the Death Star. At a nearby asteroid, a massive chunk of rock and ice, perhaps 3 kilometers across, drifting in the local asteroid field. The beam that lanced from the Dominator's primary weapon array was golden, brilliant, and devastatingly focused. It struck the asteroid dead center. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the entire 3-kilometer mass simply ceased to exist. Not exploded, not shattered, but converted to energy in a flash of light that briefly outshone the local sun. Matter-to-energy conversion. Total annihilation. That, Caney continued, her voice conversational, was our primary phaser array at 40% power. We have 12 such arrays. We also have photon torpedoes capable of devastating planetary surfaces, shields that can withstand sustained bombardment from fleet elements, and a crew trained from birth to conquer and dominate. Now, shall we discuss your compliance, or shall we discuss your destruction? Tarkin's expression didn't change, couldn't change. To show reaction would be to show weakness. But internally, his tactical mind was racing. Matter conversion weapons, not turbo lasers, not ion cannons, something fundamentally different, advanced, dangerous. These Terrans were not the rebellion. They were not even the Republic at its height. They were something new, something that understood power the same way the Empire did, which made them the most dangerous thing the Death Star had encountered since construction began. Impressive, Tarkin acknowledged. You've destroyed an asteroid. The Death Star destroys planets. Shall we compare destructive capabilities further? Or shall we acknowledge that we are, perhaps, equals who should negotiate rather than threaten? Vader's respirator hissed disapproval, but Tarkin ignored it. This was not the time for Sith absolutism. This was the time for imperial pragmatism. Caney smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Equals. How diplomatic of you, Grand Moff. Very well, I propose a meeting, face to face, you and I, along with our respective tactical advisors, aboard neutral ground. She gestured to the view screen. That asteroid field contains a stable planetoid. Atmosphere-capable shuttles can land there. We discuss your situation, your options, and what accommodation might be reached between our respective empires. And if I decline this generous invitation, then we discover whether your battle station shields can withstand sustained phaser bombardment. I suspect they can, for a time. But Captain Tarkin, she used his title incorrectly, deliberately, a subtle insult. I have summoned reinforcements. 3 more vessels of Dominator class are en route. Arrival time, 4 hours. When they arrive, we will no longer be having this conversation. We will be conducting salvage operations on your wreckage, Tarkin calculated. 4 hours. Enough time to assess the situation, to gather intelligence, to determine the Terran's weaknesses, and if necessary, to demonstrate why threatening the Empire was always fatal. Agreed. We meet in 2 hours. Coordinates to follow. And, Captain Kane, come prepared to negotiate, or come prepared to die. The Empire does not suffer threats gladly. Neither, Caney replied, does the Terran Empire. 2 hours, Grand Moff. Don't be late. The transmission ended. Tarkin turned to Vader. Assemble a delegation, stormtrooper security, full combat readiness, and prepare the Death Star's primary weapon. If this negotiation fails, you wish to destroy their vessel? Vader interrupted. I wish, Tarkin corrected, to destroy whatever planet or installation their reinforcements are coming from. Let us show these Terrans what the Empire does to those who threaten us. Let us show them the meaning of fear. Vader's respirator cycled. As you wish, Governor, but be aware, I sense something in their captain, something beyond normal ambition, a darkness, a hunger. She is dangerous in ways that transcend mere military capability. All the more reason, Tarkin replied, to eliminate her, before she eliminates us. ISS Dominator, Captain's Ready Room. 90 minutes until meeting Captain Leandra Kane stood before the observation window, watching the Death Star's impossible bulk rotate slowly against the star field. Behind her, Commander Darius Cross, her first officer and the ship's most ruthless tactical officer, reviewed sensor data on a PID. Analysis? Kaney asked without turning. Remarkable, Cross admitted. The station is essentially a mobile weapons platform built around a central power core of... We're not entirely sure. The energy readings are enormous, sustained, and the structural mass is beyond anything we've encountered. Building something that size would require resources equivalent to a dozen planetary economies. Weapons? Conventional by our standards. Energy-based projectile weapons, they're turbo-lasers, operate on different principles than phasers, but achieve similar results. Thousands of them. The station could engage an entire fleet simultaneously. But their shields are interesting. They're layered, multiple redundant systems. Very Empire-like. They build in redundancy because they expect to be attacked. And their primary weapon? Cross's expression darkened. Unknown. There's a massive focusing array built into the station's superstructure. The power requirements suggest planet-scale destructive capability. If they're telling the truth about destroying planets, this would be the mechanism. A directed energy weapon of unprecedented scale. Kaney turned, her eyes calculating. So, a mobile fortress with planetary-scale destructive capability, commanded by a man who radiates authority and a whatever that black-armored figure was. Something unnatural. Did you sense it? The distortion? Yes. He's not fully human anymore. Cybernetic augmentation, possibly. Or something worse. The Empire I understand, imperial, authoritarian, built on fear and power. But that creature next to Tarkin, that's something else. Which makes him dangerous. Which makes this entire situation dangerous. Kaney sat at her desk, steepling her fingers. We have two options. Negotiate an alliance with these Imperials. They clearly have resources and technology we could exploit. Or destroy them before they become a threat to Terran dominance in this sector. The Empress would prefer the latter, Cross observed. Unknown variables from unknown space? Eliminate them. Claim their technology through salvage, standard protocol. But the former offers opportunities. Think about it, Darius. An empire from another galaxy. Resources we've never tapped. Technologies we've never studied. If we could establish tributary status, make them client states of the Terran Empire, we'd have access to an entire galaxy's worth of conquest opportunities. Ambitious. Always. Kaney smiled coldly. Prepare the delegation, full security detail, agonizers set to maximum, and ensure our transporters are locked onto Tarkin's shuttle. If he makes a hostile move, I want him beamed directly into our brig, or into space. Whichever proves more convenient. And if they prove too dangerous to control? Kaney's smile vanished. Then we demonstrate why the Terran Empire has never lost a first contact scenario. We destroy them, completely, and we do it before their reinforcements arrive from wherever they came from. 4 hours, Darius. We have 4 hours to determine if the Death Star is a prize to be claimed or a threat to be eliminated. Yes, Captain, and if I may say, you seem to be enjoying this. Of course I am. We're meeting beings who understand power exactly as we do. No Federation idealism, no diplomatic weakness, just pure, honest imperial ambition meeting its mirror. This is going to be fascinating. She stood, adjusting her uniform. Now, let's go meet Grand Moff Tarkin, and let's show him that the Terran Empire doesn't negotiate from fear. We negotiate from strength. Always strength. Neutral planetoid, surface, meeting time. The planetoid was barely habitable. Thin atmosphere, rocky surface, minimal life support required. Perfect neutral ground. Both delegations could land, meet, and if necessary, kill each other without risking their primary vessels. The Imperial Lambda-class shuttle landed first, its wings folding up in the distinctive configuration that declared Imperial authority. The boarding ramp lowered. Stormtroopers emerged, 12 of them, E-11 blasters ready, armor gleaming white even in the planetoid's dim light. They formed a perimeter. Then Tarkin descended, his gray uniform immaculate, his posture perfect. Behind him, Darth Vader's massive form dominated the landscape, his respirator breathing its rhythm, his presence making the very air feel heavy. Moments later, a Terran shuttle materialized, not landed, but beamed into existence via transporter technology. Its design was sleeker than the Imperial craft, all curves and efficiency. The hatch opened. Terran security emerged, 6 guards in golden armor, carrying weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. Captain Caney followed, her uniform perfect, her stride confident. Beside her, Commander Cross carried a pad and a sidearm. The two groups approached each other across 50 meters of barren rock, met in the middle, stopped. Tarkin and Caney faced each other. Imperial authority met Terran ruthlessness, two predators recognizing another predator. Grand Moff Tarkin, Caney greeted. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Captain Kane, Tarkin replied. Thank you for not opening fire immediately. It shows admirable restraint for a conqueror. We save violence for when diplomacy proves insufficient, which, in our experience, is often, but not always. Her eyes shifted to Vader. And you are? Lord Vader, the Sith replied, his voice mechanical, but carrying undeniable menace. Dark Lord of the Sith, servant of Emperor Palpatine, and the instrument of his will. Sith, fascinating. We have Force sensitives in our universe as well, though we prefer to use them as weapons rather than commanders. Less political complication that way, Vader's respirator hissed. Your universe lacks vision. Our universe conquers efficiently. Vision is a luxury for philosophers. We're soldiers. Tarkin interrupted the developing confrontation. Perhaps we should discuss the relevant facts. We are here from another galaxy, displaced by forces we do not yet understand. We require navigational data to determine our location relative to our home territory. And we require your assurance that the Terran Empire will not interfere with our return. And in exchange, Caney asked, we offer nothing. We are the Galactic Empire. We do not negotiate. We command. How familiar that sounds, Caney replied. We say the same thing, usually right before we annihilate anyone who disagrees. But you're not in your galaxy anymore, Grand Moff. You're in ours, which means your command is meaningless without power to enforce it. So, let's discuss what each side wants, and what each side is willing to pay to get it. The negotiation had begun, and both sides knew it would end in either alliance or annihilation. There would be no middle ground, not when empires met. They sat across from each other at a hastily assembled table. A portable field command station the Terrans had beamed down, its surface displaying holographic star charts and tactical readouts. Stormtroopers and Terran guards maintained position 50 meters away, weapons ready, each side watching the other with the professional paranoia of soldiers who expected betrayal. Tarkin sat with his characteristic rigid posture, hands folded before him. Vader stood behind him, a silent pillar of menace. Across the table, Kaney leaned back in her chair with calculated casualness, projecting confidence while Cross stood at attention, his hand never far from his phaser. "Let us begin with facts," Tarkin stated. "The Galactic Empire controls approximately 70% of our home galaxy, 1.5 million inhabited systems, quadrillions of sentient beings under imperial law. We maintain this control through military superiority, centralized authority, and the occasional demonstration of overwhelming force." He gestured to the Death Star, visible as a gray moon in the planetoid sky. The Death Star is that demonstration, a battle station with sufficient firepower to sterilize a planet in a single shot. We built it to end rebellion through fear, to make resistance psychologically impossible. Kaney's eyebrow raised. "You built a weapon specifically for terrorism." "We built a weapon specifically for order," Tarkin corrected coldly. "The difference is perspective. Rebellions occur when populations believe resistance is possible. Remove that belief. Demonstrate absolute, inescapable consequences, and resistance becomes unthinkable. The Death Star is not a weapon. It is a deterrent. The ultimate deterrent." "And yet," Kaney observed, "you're here, in our space, lost, displaced, which suggests your ultimate deterrent didn't prevent whatever cosmic force ripped you from your galaxy. Perhaps your empire isn't as omnipotent as you believe." Vader's respirator hissed. "You speak of things you do not understand. The Force," Kaney interrupted, "is irrelevant. We've encountered Force users in our universe. Psychics, espers, beings who claim mystical connections to reality itself. We've conquered them, enslaved them, weaponized them. Your Force is just another tool, and tools can be taken, broken, or turned against their wielders." The temperature seemed to drop. Vader's hand moved toward his lightsaber. Kaney's guards raised their phasers slightly. Stormtroopers adjusted their aim. The negotiation was seconds from becoming a firefight. Tarkin raised one hand, not dramatically, just a small gesture, but it was enough. Vader's hand stilled. The tension held, but didn't break. "Perhaps," Tarkin said carefully, "we should discuss the Terran Empire's capabilities, since you seem confident in lecturing us about power." Kaney smiled. "Of course. The Terran Empire controls approximately 400 star systems in our local sector. We maintain absolute dominance through technological superiority, military discipline, and systematic elimination of anyone who questions imperial authority. We don't tolerate rebellion. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't show mercy to the weak." She activated a holographic display. Images appeared, worlds burning under orbital bombardment, a species enslaved, populations brought to heel through calculated violence. "This," Kaney continued, "is the former Vulcan homeworld. They resisted Terran expansion. They believed their logic and philosophy made them superior to human ambition. We taught them otherwise. The planet is now a mining colony. The Vulcans who survived are property of the Empire. Their famous logic made them excellent administrators. Once properly motivated," Cross added his own display. "The Klingon Empire, a warrior culture that once threatened Terran space, is now a client state. We broke their great houses, executed their high council, and repurposed their warrior culture into imperial service. They fight for us now, die for us, Because the alternative is extinction. And the Federation? Tarkin asked, recognizing the term from earlier transmissions. I've seen references to a united federation of planets in your database fragments. Where are they? Dead, Caney replied bluntly. The mirror universe divergence occurred centuries ago. In our timeline, humanity embraced strength over weakness, conquest over cooperation. We built an empire while the Federation, in other quantum realities, built a democratic alliance. They don't exist here. Only we exist. Only the Empire. She leaned forward. We're telling you this so you understand. We are not the enemies you're used to fighting. We're not rebels with stolen ships and desperate tactics. We're not aliens with incomprehensible motivations. We are exactly what you are. Humans who decided the galaxy should belong to us. And we took it. Impressive, Tarkin acknowledged. 400 systems, subjugated species, broken empires, but also unlimited. 400 systems versus our 1.5 million, a sector versus a galaxy. Captain Kane, the Galactic Empire operates on a scale you cannot comprehend. We don't just conquer worlds, we industrialize them. We build fleets numbering in the hundreds of thousands. We move armies of millions. The Death Star alone required resources equivalent to 10,000 Imperial Star destroyers, Cross interrupted, reading from his PADD. Yes, we've calculated that based on the station's mass and observed construction materials. It's remarkable. Inefficient, but remarkable. You built a terror weapon so expensive that building a second one would strain your entire economy. Silence fell across the table. Because Cross was right. The Death Star had consumed resources the Empire could barely afford. It was a singular achievement and a singular vulnerability. Tarkin's expression didn't change. The cost is irrelevant. The effect is absolute. One Death Star can enforce order across an entire galaxy. Can your 400 systems claim similar efficiency? We don't need efficiency on that scale, Caney countered. We need dominance on a manageable scale. We build Dominator-class battle cruisers, 40 currently in service, and each one can subjugate an entire sector through sustained military pressure. We don't destroy planets. We occupy them, exploit them, turn them into production centers for more ships, more weapons, more conquest. Your Death Star is a magnificent monument to fear. Our fleet is a systematic engine of expansion. She pulled up another display. And speaking of expansion, the anomaly that brought you here, we detected it 3 hours before your arrival. We've been studying it, and we believe we understand it. Tarkin straightened slightly. Explain. The anomaly was artificially generated, not by us, not by you, by something else. Something in the space between universes. There are beings, entities, that exist in quantum foam, in the spaces between realities. They're experimenting, opening doors, pulling things through. You're not the first displaced species we've encountered. You're just the largest. Why? Vader demanded. What purpose would such entities have? Unknown, but irrelevant. What matters is this. The anomaly is still active, unstable, but active, which means it might be possible to send you back, to return you to your galaxy. Hope, that most dangerous of emotions, flickered across Tarkin's features for a microsecond before Imperial discipline crushed it. What would this return cost us? Alliance, Caney stated simply. Technology exchange. The Death Star's primary weapon specifications. Your hyperdrive technology. which appears to be significantly faster than our warp drive, your military doctrine and organizational structure, everything, full access, and in exchange, we help you return home. We provide the resources, the scientific expertise, and the time necessary to stabilize the anomaly and reverse your displacement. And if we refuse, Kaney's smile vanished, then you remain here, in our space, a potential threat to Terran dominance. And we eliminate threats. Always. Completely. You would attack the Death Star? Vader asked, his tone carrying dark amusement. Your single vessel against a battle station with firepower capable of destroying planets? Our 4 vessels, Cross corrected. The reinforcements I mentioned, they've arrived early, currently holding position 20,000 kilometers from your battle station, awaiting our signal. On cue, the Terran PAD display updated. 3 more Dominator-class battlecruisers appeared on the tactical readout, surrounding the Death Star in a perfect triangle formation. Each vessel's weapons were armed. Each vessel's shields were at maximum. The Death Star was surrounded. Tarkin calculated rapidly. 4 enemy vessels. Unknown capabilities beyond what the first demonstrated. The Death Star's primary weapon could destroy 1, maybe 2, before the others could respond. But 4 simultaneous opponents, attacking from multiple vectors, with matter conversion weapons that could theoretically penetrate Imperial shields. The tactical situation had shifted from advantageous to dangerous. A demonstration of power, Tarkin observed coldly. How thoroughly predictable. You've maneuvered us into a position where we must either accept your terms or face immediate combat. Tell me, Captain, do all Terran negotiations involve such blatant threats? Only the important ones, Kaney replied. And this is important. Because here's what you don't understand yet. We don't want to destroy you. We want to use you. The Terran Empire's expansion has been limited by resources and technology. Your hyperdrive alone would revolutionize our conquest capabilities. Your military doctrine, built around fear and centralized control, matches our philosophy perfectly. You're not enemies. You're potential assets. Assets, Vader repeated, his voice dropping to a dangerous register. You presume to classify the Galactic Empire as a tool for Terran ambition? I presume to classify you as refugees in our space who are being offered an exceptionally generous return policy. Take the offer. Give us the technology we want. Return home. Resume your galactic conquest. Everyone benefits. Except, Tarkin noted, you'll have our technology, which means you'll replicate it. Build your own Death Stars, your own Imperial-class Star Destroyers, your own hyperspace-capable fleet. And then, once you've learned everything we can teach, what prevents you from using that knowledge to invade our galaxy? To turn our own weapons against us? Kaney leaned back, her expression carrying genuine respect. Absolutely nothing, which is why I like you, Grand Moff Tarkin. You think like we do. You understand that every alliance is temporary. Every deal is a prelude to eventual betrayal. Every partnership is just waiting for one side to gain enough advantage to eliminate the other. She stood, pacing around the table. So, let's be honest with each other. Completely honest. You want to return home. We want your technology. Neither of us trusts the other. Both of us are prepared to fight if negotiations fail. The question becomes, can we reach an arrangement that benefits both empires long enough for you to leave? After which point, our future relationship becomes irrelevant to your immediate concerns. Tarkin stood as well, facing her across the table. You're proposing a temporary alliance of convenience. We provide technical specifications in exchange for assistance returning home. Once we're gone, whatever you do with that technology is no longer our concern. Exactly. And what guarantee do we have that you'll honor this arrangement? That you won't simply take what you want and leave us stranded here? None whatsoever. Just as we have no guarantee you won't destroy our vessels the moment we lower our shields to begin the technical exchange. This is what negotiation looks like between empires, Grand Moff. Mutual distrust, mutual threat, and mutual recognition that cooperation, however temporary, serves both parties better than immediate conflict. Vader spoke, his voice carrying the weight of Sith certainty. There is another option. We destroy your vessels. We take your technology through salvage. We use your computers to navigate this universe and find our own way home, without negotiation, without alliance, through pure, uncompromising force. You could try, Kaney acknowledged, but you'd lose. 4 Dominator-class battle cruisers against 1 Death Star? Even your impressive firepower has limits, and our shields are designed to withstand sustained bombardment. By the time you destroyed one of our ships, the other 3 would have carved your battle station into scrap. You'd kill us. We'd kill you. Both empires lose. Mutually assured destruction, Cross added. A familiar concept. The only question is whether either side is willing to accept that outcome. The silence that followed was absolute. Stormtroopers and Terran guards watched their respective commanders, waiting, ready. The slightest gesture could trigger a conflict that would light up this entire star system. Tarkin broke the silence. Lord Vader, your assessment? The Sith Lord was silent for a long moment, his respirator the only sound. When he spoke, his words carried reluctant pragmatism. The Force shows me multiple paths. Most end in mutual annihilation. Some end in our return home. None end in easy victory. Captain Kaney is correct. Cooperation serves us better than conflict. For now. For now, Tarkin echoed. He turned to Kaney. Very well, we accept your terms. Limited technology exchange. Assistance with returning to our galaxy. But understand this, Captain. If you betray us, if you attempt to trap us here or turn our technology against us, the Death Star's final act will be destroying every Terran vessel in range. We will take you with us into oblivion. That is not a threat. It is a certainty. Kaney nodded. Understood. And know this, Grand Moff. If you betray us, if you attack our vessels or attempt to seize our technology by force, the Terran Empire will hunt you across every dimension. We will find your galaxy. We will burn your worlds. We will show you what happens when you cross the Terran Empire. That is not a threat. It is a promise. They stared at each other. 2 apex predators circling. 2 empires meeting in the dark. 2 philosophies of conquest recognizing their mirror image. Then we have an accord, Tarkin stated. We have an accord, Kaney confirmed. They did not shake hands. Neither empire believed in such meaningless gestures. Instead, they simply nodded. Acknowledgement between equals. Acknowledgement between enemies who were, temporarily, allies. Our chief scientist will coordinate with your engineering teams, Kaney said. All business now. We'll need complete specifications on your hyperdrive, your reactor core, and your primary weapon systems. In exchange, we'll provide full sensor data on the anomaly, our calculations for stabilization, and the resources necessary to reopen the dimensional breach. How long will this process require? Unknown. Days, possibly. Weeks if the anomaly proves more unstable than anticipated. You'll need to maintain position here. Allow our scientists aboard your station. Submit to inspections. Unacceptable, Vader interrupted. Terran personnel aboard the Death Star would have access to classified Imperial systems. We will transmit specifications. You will analyze them remotely. No boarding. No inspections. Kaney's expression hardened. We need direct access to your primary weapon. The energy signature alone suggests exotic physics beyond our current understanding. Remote analysis won't... No, Tarkin stated flatly. The Death Star's superlaser remains classified. You receive technical specifications for negotiated systems only. The primary weapon is not negotiable. Then you've just devalued your side of the bargain significantly. The superlaser is the only technology you possess that we don't already have equivalents for. Everything else, shields, weapons, in engines, we can reverse engineer from external observation. Without access to your primary weapon, this deal becomes worthless to us. The negotiation had hit its first critical impasse. Both sides wanted something the other refused to provide. Both sides had weapons aimed and ready. Both sides were seconds from walking away or opening fire. Commander Cross leaned close to Kaney, whispering urgently. She listened, her expression unreadable, then nodded. A compromise, Kaney proposed. You transmit specifications for your hyperdrive, your reactor design, and your shield technology. We analyze them. Begin work on stabilizing the anomaly. Once we've demonstrated good faith, once you see we're genuinely helping, we revisit the superlaser discussion. If you're satisfied we're honoring the agreement, you provide limited specifications. Enough for us to understand the principles without complete schematics. Everyone gets something. Everyone keeps something back. Fair? Tarkin considered. It was actually reasonable. Staged exchange. Trust built incrementally. Each side maintaining leverage throughout the process. Acceptable, he finally agreed. We transmit hyperdrive specifications first. You begin anomaly stabilization. We proceed from there. But understand, if at any point we determine you're stalling, deceiving, or attempting to trap us here, negotiations end, permanently. Likewise, if you withhold critical information or falsify specifications, we withdraw all assistance, and you remain in our space, subject to Terran authority. Kaney extended her hand, not for shaking, but displaying a small device. Encrypted communication link, direct line to my ready room. If problems arise, contact me immediately. We resolve issues between commanders, not through intermediaries who might escalate unnecessarily. Tarkin took the device, examining it briefly before pocketing it. Practical. I'll provide you with equivalent Imperial communication codes. Lord Vader will serve as my primary liaison for technical exchanges. He has my full authority to negotiate on behalf of the Empire. Commander Cross will represent Terran interests. He's authorized to make decisions without consulting me for matters within established parameters. Kaney glanced at the sky, where her fleet and the Death Star hung in their tense standoff. Shall we return to our respective vessels? Begin the technical exchange? One moment, Vader said, his mechanical voice carrying an edge. Before we proceed, I have a question for you. Captain Kane, you mentioned force sensitives in your universe, that you've weaponized them. Explain. Kaney's expression became guarded. Why? What relevance does that have to our agreement? Because I sense something in your crew, multiple individuals. They carry potential, the ability to touch the Force, though untrained and unfocused. If we're to work together, I need to understand what psychic capabilities your people possess, and what defenses you have against Force manipulation. Ah, Kaney's smile returned, cold and knowing. You're worried we have mind readers, telepaths who might steal your secrets directly from your thoughts. A valid concern. Yes, we have espers, humans with psychic abilities developed through genetic manipulation and cruel selective breeding. They serve as intelligence assets, interrogators, sometimes assassins, but they're leashed, controlled, kept weak enough to be useful without being threatening. And your defenses against similar abilities used against you? Neural dampeners, implanted in all command personnel. They prevent external psychic influence, telepathy, mind control, emotional manipulation. Your force wouldn't work on me, Lord Vader, or on any senior Terran officer. We learned early in our Empire building that psychics are too dangerous to leave uncontrolled. So we controlled them, absolutely. Vader's respirator hissed. Approval or disapproval, impossible to tell. Efficient, ruthless, and entirely predictable for your culture. Very well. I am satisfied we can proceed without psychic interference. Then we're done here, Tarkin concluded. Return to your vessels. Initiate technical exchange within the hour. And Captain Kane, try not to give me reason to regret this arrangement. Grand Moff Tarkin, the same to you. They separated, Imperial forces returning to their shuttle. Terran forces beaming back to their ship. The meeting had ended without bloodshed, but both sides knew it was only the beginning. The real test would come when empires stopped talking and started revealing secrets. When trust, that most dangerous commodity, would be tested by technology and treachery, and when both sides would discover whether cooperation between conquerors was possible, or whether mutual annihilation was the only language empires truly spoke. The Lambda-class shuttle from the ISS Dominator descended through the Death Star's magnetic containment field with the precision of a civilization that had mastered gravity manipulation. Its design, all curves and glowing nacelles, contrasted sharply with the angular brutality of imperial architecture surrounding it. Stormtroopers lined the hangar bay, weapons at parade rest but ready, their white armor gleaming under harsh overhead lighting. Grand Moff Tarkin stood at the center of the reception area, flanked by Imperial officers and technical specialists. Vader loomed behind him, a silent monument to threat. They watched as the Terran shuttle's boarding ramp extended, and Commander Darius Cross descended, followed by 4 Terran scientists in utilitarian jumpsuits and 2 security guards in golden armor. Cross carried himself with military precision, his uniform perfect, his expression neutral. He stopped precisely 3 meters from Tarkin. The distance protocol demanded between hostile powers conducting reluctant diplomacy. Grand Moff Tarkin, Lord Vader, thank you for receiving us. Commander Cross, Tarkin acknowledged. Your scientists are prepared to begin analysis of our hyperdrive specifications? Prepared and eager. Captain Kane sends her regards and a progress report. Cross activated a holographic display from his pad. The anomaly appeared, a writhing tear in space-time, pulsing with exotic energies. Our analysis is proceeding faster than anticipated. The dimensional breach is artificial, as suspected, but also unstable. It's degrading. At current rates, it will collapse completely within 48 hours. 48 hours? Tarkin's composure cracked slightly. You said we had days, possibly weeks. We were wrong. The breach is decaying exponentially. The entities that created it, whatever they are, apparently didn't design it for long-term stability, which means we have a narrow window. We stabilize and reopen the breach within 2 days. or you're trapped here permanently," Vader's respirator hissed. "Then we accelerate the timeline. Provide us with your stabilization calculations. We will contribute imperial scientific resources. Combined effort won't work," one of the Terran scientists interrupted. A woman in her 40s, her graying hair pulled back severely, her eyes carrying the intensity of someone who'd spent decades studying physics that broke lesser minds. "I'm Dr. Rashida Chen, Terran Empire Science Division. The anomaly requires quantum field manipulation beyond your current technology. Your shields operate on particle barrier principles, effective but crude. We need subspace field harmonics, temporal phase variance, technologies you don't possess." "Then what?" Tarkin asked coldly. "Is the purpose of this exchange? If you already know we cannot assist with the anomaly, why maintain the pretense of cooperation?" Cross and Chen exchanged glances. Then Cross spoke carefully. "Because Captain Kane wants your hyperdrive technology, desperately, and she believes you want to return home desperately enough to provide it. So, here's the situation, honestly. We can stabilize the anomaly. We can reopen the dimensional breach. But doing so requires resources and computational power we don't currently have on site. We need to summon additional Terran vessels, science ships, mobile laboratories, which means time," Vader finished. "Time during which we remain in your space, subject to your authority, vulnerable to your treachery. Time during which we gain access to your technology," Chen countered bluntly. "Yes, that's the arrangement. You provide hyperdrive specifications. We study them, reverse engineer them, build prototypes. And during that process, we also work on sending you home. Everyone gets what they want, eventually." Tarkin's eyes narrowed. "You've changed the terms. Originally, you suggested days. Now you're suggesting an extended occupation of our battle station while your scientists dissect imperial technology. This was not the agreement." "The agreement," Cross stated, "was cooperation toward mutual benefit. The timeline changed because the physics changed. We're being honest about that. The question is whether you're willing to accept the new reality or whether you'd prefer to attempt navigating this universe on your own. Without our assistance, without our star charts, without our knowledge of the political landscape." He activated another display. Star maps appeared, vast, complex, showing territories marked in different colors. Gold for Terran Empire, red for hostile powers, gray for neutral zones. "This universe isn't empty, Grand Moff. It's crowded. The Terran Empire controls 400 systems, as mentioned, but we're surrounded by hostile civilizations. The Klingon client states, still dangerous despite their subjugation. The Romulan Star Empire, paranoid, aggressive, technologically advanced. The Borg, a cybernetic collective that assimilates entire species. The Dominion, a genetic tyranny from the Gamma Quadrant. Any one of these powers would love to capture a Death Star, study it, reverse engineer it, use it against us, and against you if you're still here when they find you." Tarkin studied the star maps with professional interest. Multiple hostile civilizations, complex political dynamics, threats on all sides. It was remarkably similar to the Galactic Empire's situation. Surrounded by potential enemies, maintaining dominance through military superiority and calculated fear. "You're suggesting we need Terran protection. I'm suggesting you need Terran knowledge. Protection is irrelevant. You have the Death Star. But knowledge of who your enemies are, where they're located, what capabilities they possess, that's valuable, and we're offering it, free, as part of our cooperation." "Nothing is free, Commander. What's the actual price? Cross smiled slightly. Complete hyperdrive specifications, not partial, not summarized, full technical schematics, reactor integration protocols, navigational algorithms, everything. And he paused, clearly reaching the demand he knew would cause problems. We want one of your star destroyers. The temperature in the hangar bay seemed to drop. Every stormtrooper's grip tightened on their weapons. Imperial officers stiffened. Vader's hand moved toward his lightsaber. Tarkin's voice was ice. You want us to surrender an Imperial Star Destroyer, a capital ship, a symbol of Imperial might. And you're either insane or deliberately provocative. We're practical, Chen interjected. Specifications help, but practical examination helps more. We want to physically study a hyperdrive, take it apart, understand how it interfaces with your power systems, your navigational computers, your structural frame. We can't do that through transmitted data alone. We need hardware. And a Star Destroyer, while impressive, is expendable to an empire with thousands of them. Give us one ship, we study it. You get to go home. Everyone benefits. Unacceptable, Vader stated flatly. An Imperial Star Destroyer carries classified systems beyond the hyperdrive. Weapons, shields, computer cores containing Imperial military intelligence. You're asking for total access to our technology, total intelligence on our capabilities. This violates every principle of operational security. Then wipe the computers, Cross suggested. Strip the weapons, disable the shields, give us a Hulk, a frame with a functioning hyperdrive and nothing else. We don't need your intelligence. We need your engine, Tarkin calculated. A Star Destroyer, depowered, stripped, essentially dead, was technically worthless to the Empire. But symbolically, surrendering an Imperial warship to an alien power was humiliation, would be seen as weakness, would undermine Imperial authority if word ever reached the Emperor. But they were trapped in another universe, with limited resources and unknown enemies. Pragmatism demanded flexibility. I need time to consider this demand, to consult with my staff, to determine if such a concession serves Imperial interests. You have 6 hours, Cross replied. After that, Captain Kane will assume you've rejected her terms. She'll withdraw all assistance. You'll be on your own. 6 hours. How generous. Tarkin's tone could have frozen plasma. Very well. Your scientists may begin preliminary examination of our hangar facilities under stormtrooper supervision, with no access to restricted areas. We will reconvene with our decision shortly. Cross nodded. Understood. Dr. Chen, begin initial surveys. Security, maintain position. And Grand Moff? He met Tarkin's eyes. I know this feels like extortion, like we're exploiting your vulnerability. But from our perspective, we're offering fair exchange. A dead Star Destroyer for your passage home. Most empires wouldn't be that generous. Most empires would just take what they wanted and leave you stranded. Consider that when making your decision. He turned and walked toward his scientists, leaving Tarkin and Vader standing in the hangar bay, surrounded by stormtroopers, watching Terran personnel begin scanning Imperial technology with devices that hummed with power. Tarkin waited until the Terrans were out of earshot, then spoke quietly to Vader. Your assessment? They're manipulating us, creating artificial time pressure, making demands they know will resist. Classic negotiation tactics. Establish impossible positions, then compromise toward what they actually wanted all along. Agreed. But are they lying about the anomaly's collapse? Is the 48-hour deadline genuine? The Force is unclear. This universe operates under different rules. I cannot sense deception as clearly as in our own galaxy. But logically, if they wanted to trap us permanently, they wouldn't need elaborate deception. They'd simply refuse all assistance. The fact that they're maintaining this pretense suggests some elements of their offer are genuine. Tarkin nodded slowly. Then we proceed, but carefully. We provide a star destroyer, but we choose which one, the Devastator. It's scheduled for decommissioning anyway. Hyperdrive is functional, but outdated. Computer systems are 3 generations behind current Imperial standard. We strip everything classified, leave them a skeleton, barely functional, just enough to satisfy their demand without compromising real security. And if they discover the deception? They won't. They're not familiar with Imperial technology. They won't know they're receiving an obsolete model unless we tell them. And we won't tell them. Risky. If they feel betrayed, they're already planning to betray us, Lord Vader. The moment they have our hyperdrive technology, the moment we're gone, they'll begin building their own fleet, planning their own invasion of our galaxy. This alliance is temporary by definition. The only question is whether we extract maximum value before it ends, Vader's respirator cycled. And the Death Star's superlaser, they still want those specifications. They'll raise that demand again. And we'll refuse again, or provide falsified data, specifications that look genuine but contain fatal flaws. Let them build a weapon based on our help and watch it malfunction catastrophically during its first test, a fitting punishment for their extortion. Cruel, efficient, very imperial. Vader actually sounded approving. I will begin preparations for the Devastator's transfer, stripping weapons, wiping computers, removing anything that could provide genuine intelligence value. Good. And Lord Vader? Maintain surveillance on the Terran scientists. I want to know everything they examine, everything they scan, everything they learn. If we're giving them technology, I want to know exactly what technology they're receiving. Of course, Governor. Shall I also eliminate them if they discover something they shouldn't? Tarkin considered. Violence would end the cooperation, but it would also protect Imperial secrets. The calculation was simple. Were dead Terran scientists worth losing their assistance with the anomaly? Not yet, but potentially soon. No, not yet, but remain prepared. If they overstep, if they access classified systems despite our restrictions, terminate them quietly. Make it look like accident, equipment malfunction, unfortunate tragedy during sensitive technical work. The Terran captain will protest, but she can't prove deliberate action. And by the time she escalates, we'll be gone. As you wish. Captain Caney watched the holographic feed from the Death Star's hangar bay, observing Tarkin and Vader's private conversation. The Imperials thought they were speaking confidentially. They didn't know Terran transporter technology could do more than move matter. It could also plant microscopic surveillance devices. Devices currently recording every word. Commander Cross stood beside her, listening. When the recording ended, he looked at Caney with grudging respect. They're planning to give us a worthless star destroyer, stripped, obsolete, barely functional, and they're discussing giving us falsified superlaser specifications. They're playing us. Of course they are, Caney replied, completely unsurprised. They're not idiots. They know we'll use their technology against them eventually, so they're planning to give us garbage disguised as cooperation. Predictable, sensible, exactly what we do in their position. So, what's our counter move? Caney pulled up another display. Detailed scans of the Death Star's internal structure, reactor locations, computer cores, the massive focusing array that constituted the superlaser, all mapped, all cataloged, all recorded by sensors far more sophisticated than the Imperials realized. We already have what we need. The Star Destroyer is a bonus. We'll take it, study it, learn from it. But the real prize? She zoomed in on the Death Star's reactor core. That, the power generation system. It's massive, sustained, provides energy levels we can't currently match. If we can understand how they generate and contain that much power, we can upgrade our entire fleet. And the superlaser? Already scanned. We won't get complete specifications from their cooperation, but we don't need them. Our sensors have mapped the entire focusing array. Analyze the energy signature during their test firing we observed. Dr. Chen believes she can reverse engineer the principles within 6 months. Maybe less. Cross smiled. So, we're playing them while they think they're playing us. Exactly. They give us a worthless Star Destroyer. We study it, pretend to be satisfied, thank them profusely. All while our real intelligence gathering happens through methods they don't even know exist. By the time they return to their galaxy, if they return, we'll have everything we need, and they'll think they successfully deceived us. There's still the matter of actually sending them home. The anomaly is degrading. That part wasn't a lie. If we want them gone, and I assume we do, we need to stabilize it soon. Caney nodded. Agreed, I want them gone. They're too dangerous to keep around long term, too powerful, too ruthless. They understand conquest the same way we do, which makes them unpredictable. Better to help them leave, extract maximum intelligence during the process, than ensure the anomaly collapses permanently behind them. No return trips, no future contact. They go back to their galaxy. We keep this one. And if they refuse to leave, if they decide they like our universe better than theirs, then we destroy them. 4 Dominator-class cruisers can't kill the Death Star in direct combat, but 8 can. 12 certainly can. We're already summoning reinforcements. By the time Tarkin makes his final decision about the Star Destroyer, we'll have overwhelming force in position. If cooperation continues, wonderful. If it ends, we end them, permanently. She stood, walking to the observation window, showing the Death Star's gray bulk against the stars. They're playing a game they think they can win, deceiving us, manipulating us, buying time to escape while giving us nothing of value. And they're so confident in their deception, they don't realize we're running a deeper game, a longer game. The Terran way, Cross observed, always. We didn't build an empire by being honest. We built it by being smarter, more ruthless, and more patient than everyone else. The Imperials will learn that lesson, eventually, probably when it's too late. Her communications panel chimed. Captain, this is Dr. Chen. We've completed initial scans of the Imperial hangar bay. I'm sending preliminary data now. The technology is remarkable, different from ours in fundamental ways. The power conduits alone suggest engineering principles we haven't explored. With time and access, we could... You'll have both, Doctor. Continue your analysis. Maintain the pretense that you're struggling to understand their systems. Make them believe we need their cooperation, and catalog everything. I want complete technical intelligence before they leave. Understood, Captain. Now Chen out. Caney turned back to Cross. Timeline update. How long until our reinforcements arrive? Science vessels Archimedes and Newton will arrive in 18 hours. battlecruisers Conqueror and Subjugator in 24. That gives us 8 warships total, more than enough to destroy the Death Star if necessary, or to defend against it if they turn hostile. Good. And the anomaly stabilization? Real timeline, not the one we told Tarkin. 72 hours minimum, possibly 96. The dimensional breach is complex. We understated our capabilities to create urgency, but the actual work is delicate. If we rush, we risk collapsing the anomaly entirely, which would trap them here permanently. Which would force confrontation, Caney concluded. They'd realize we deceived them. They'd attack. We'd have to destroy them. And we'd lose access to all the technology they haven't shared yet. No, we proceed carefully. We stabilize the anomaly properly. We send them home, and we do it while extracting every piece of intelligence possible. Playing the long game. Always playing the long game, Commander. The Imperials think in terms of immediate domination, instant compliance. The Death Star is the ultimate expression of that philosophy. One weapon, one shot, immediate submission. But we think in terms of systematic advantage, accumulating knowledge, building capabilities. By the time we're finished with them, we'll have learned more from 6 days of cooperation than they'll learn from us in 6 months. She smiled, cold, calculating, the expression of a predator that had just positioned prey exactly where she wanted it. Inform Commander Cross's counterpart on the Death Star that we accept their offer. 1 Star Destroyer in exchange for passage home. We'll even pretend to be grateful, and while they're congratulating themselves on their successful deception, we'll be stealing everything that matters. And when they discover we've been playing them, they'll be in another galaxy, unable to return, unable to retaliate, left with the knowledge that the Terran Empire outsmarted them, outmaneuvered them, and sent them home with a smile while robbing them blind. Caney's smile widened. That's the real victory, not destroying them, but defeating them so completely they don't even realize they lost until it's far too late to matter. Cross nodded appreciation. Permission to speak freely, Captain? Granted. You're terrifying, brilliant, but terrifying. Thank you, Commander. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all week. Now go. Coordinate with the Imperials. Accept their worthless Star Destroyer with appropriate gratitude, and ensure our surveillance devices are recording everything. I want complete intelligence. Total intelligence. By the time this is over, I want to know the Galactic Empire better than they know themselves. The Star Destroyer hung in space between the Death Star and the ISS Dominator. A corpse of a ship, stripped of weapons, shields offline, computer cores wiped, crew evacuated. The Devastator had been one of the Empire's oldest Star Destroyers, scheduled for decommissioning, now serving one final purpose: deception. Tarkin watched through the viewport as Terran tractor beams began pulling the massive warship toward their battle cruiser. Beside him, Vader stood silent, his breathing the only sound in the room. They're accepting it, Tarkin observed. No protests, no demands for better condition vessel. Either they're genuinely satisfied, or they're as accomplished at deception as we are. The latter, Vader replied. I sense satisfaction from the Terran captain. Too much satisfaction. She's pleased with this exchange in ways that suggest she's gained more than a broken warship. You suspect they're conducting intelligence gathering beyond our awareness? I'm certain of it. Their technology is more sophisticated than they've revealed. Their sensors more capable. They're scanning us, recording us, learning from us even as we attempt to deceive them. Tarkin's jaw tightened. Then we're engaged in mutual espionage, each side pretending to cooperate while actually stealing from the other. How very civilized. A dangerous game, one that ends when someone discovers the deception and retaliates. Or when we leave, which, according to Terran projections, could happen within 48 hours. The anomaly is stabilizing. Dr. Chen believes they can reopen the dimensional breach by then. Send us home. End this entire encounter. Do you believe them? Tarkin considered. I believe they want us gone. We're too dangerous to keep around, too powerful to fully control. So, yes, I believe they'll send us home. Once they've extracted everything useful, once they've learned our secrets, once we've served our purpose. And we will allow this? Allow them to steal Imperial technology? To gain advantage over us? What choice do we have, Lord Vader? We're in their space, surrounded by their fleet. Fighting would be mutually destructive. Cooperating, even knowing they're betraying us, gives us a path home. Once there, we seal the anomaly from our side, ensure it never reopens, prevent future contact. They keep their universe. We keep ours. Both empires survive. Both empires gain technology from this encounter, and both empires never have to test which one would truly win a full-scale war. You're suggesting we accept defeat. I'm suggesting we accept reality. We cannot conquer this universe. We lack the resources, the time, the strategic position. But we can return home, resume our conquest of our own galaxy, and remember this encounter as a lesson in humility. The Galactic Empire is mighty, but it is not invincible. These Terrans prove that. Without firing a shot, Vader's respirator hissed, frustration, anger, but also acknowledgement. The Emperor will not be pleased. The Emperor, Tarkin replied carefully, need not know the complete truth. We report that we encountered a hostile alien empire, fought them to a standstill, negotiated our return, maintained imperial honor throughout. The details of what technology was exchanged, those can be edited for clarity. You suggest lying to the Emperor. I suggest, Tarkin corrected, providing a version of events that emphasizes imperial success rather than imperial compromise. The Emperor values results. We will return with the Death Star intact. That's a result. How we achieved it is less important. Before Vader could respond, the conference room door opened. Commander Cross entered, flanked by 2 Terran guards, carrying a data cylinder. Grand Moff Tarkin, Lord Vader, Captain Kane sends her regards and this. He placed the cylinder on the table. Complete specifications for anomaly stabilization, star charts for this region of space, and our calculations for reopening the dimensional breach. Everything you need to verify our work, to ensure we're genuinely helping rather than deceiving you. Tarkin picked up the cylinder, examining it. How generous. And what does Captain Kaney want in return for this transparency? Nothing. This is good faith. Proof that we're honoring our agreement. You gave us a Star Destroyer. We're giving you passage home. Both sides fulfilling their obligations. Cross paused. There is one final item, however. Captain Kane would like to speak with you, personally, before you depart. A final conversation between commanders. She's proposing a meeting aboard her vessel. Just you, Lord Vader, and 2 guards. No weapons, no hostility, just professional courtesy between empires. A trap, Vader stated immediately. Possibly, Cross acknowledged, or an opportunity to understand each other, to ensure this parting is permanent, to establish protocols for avoiding future conflict should your peoples ever encounter each other again. Assuming, Tarkin said, we ever could encounter each other again. Once we return to our galaxy, we will ensure the anomaly remains sealed, permanently. As will we, which is precisely why Captain Caney wants this final meeting, to ensure both sides are committed to permanent separation, to prevent future misunderstandings, Tarkin calculated. A meeting aboard the Dominator, enemy territory, vulnerable position, but also a chance to gather final intelligence, to observe Terran technology directly, to understand their capabilities before departing forever. Acceptable tomorrow, after we've verified your anomaly calculations. If everything appears legitimate, if you're genuinely helping rather than stalling, we'll meet. One final conversation. Then we leave. Forever. Agreed. I'll inform Captain Kane. She'll be pleased. Cross nodded respectfully and departed, his guards following. When they were alone again, Vader spoke. This is a mistake. Meeting aboard their vessel gives them every advantage. Perhaps, or perhaps it gives us opportunity to observe, to learn, to gather intelligence we'll need if they ever do find a way to our galaxy. Tarkin activated the data cylinder, the holographic displays filling the room with calculations and star charts. Verify these specifications, ensure they're not deception, and prepare a security team. If this meeting is a trap, we'll need to fight our way out. And if it's genuine, if they truly intend to send us home and never make contact again, then we've made an ally we'll never see again, and an enemy we'll never have to fight. Both outcomes serve the Empire. So, we proceed, carefully, and we remember everything we've learned here. Because one day, Lord Vader, the Empire will return to this universe, stronger, more prepared, and when we do, we'll remind the Terran Empire that the Galactic Empire never forgets and never forgives. The holographic displays continued their complex dance. Calculations for bending space-time, for reopening dimensional barriers, for sending an empire home, or for trapping it forever. Both sides prepared for their final meeting. Both sides planned for every contingency. And both sides knew that when empires met, there were no true allies, only temporary arrangements between future enemies. The briefing room was designed to intimidate. Walls of dark metal, overhead lighting that cast dramatic shadows, a massive viewport showing the Death Star's gray bulk, a constant reminder of the power dynamics at play. The table was rectangular, forcing visitors to sit across from their hosts in confrontational geometry. Grand Moff Tarkin sat with the rigid posture of someone who refused to show discomfort, even in enemy territory. Darth Vader stood behind him, a silent pillar of menace, his respirator breathing its mechanical rhythm. Two stormtroopers flanked the door, no weapons, as agreed, but their armor alone was statement enough. Across the table, Captain Leandra Caney sat with calculated casualness, one leg crossed over the other, her uniform immaculate. Commander Cross stood at her shoulder, and two Terran guards in golden armor maintained position at the opposite door. Between them, holographic displays showed the anomaly, still unstable, but gradually stabilizing under Terran scientific manipulation. Gentlemen, Caney began, her voice carrying that cultured authority Tarkin had come to recognize as her natural register. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I know trusting us enough to board the Dominator required significant faith. Or significant calculation, Tarkin replied. We verified your anomaly specifications. They appear legitimate, which means either you're genuinely assisting our departure or you're extraordinarily skilled at deception. I'm not certain which interpretation I prefer. Kaney smiled. Why not both? We are helping you leave, and we are skilled at deception. Those facts aren't mutually exclusive. But in this case, our deception serves your interests. We want you gone. You want to leave. Everyone's goals align, temporarily. How reassuring. Tarkin gestured to the holographic anomaly. Your projections suggest the dimensional breach can be reopened within 12 hours. The Death Star can transition back to our galaxy. This encounter ends permanently. That's the plan. But before we execute it, I wanted this conversation. Commander to commander, empire to empire, to establish certain understandings. Such as? Kaney leaned forward, her expression becoming serious. Such as ensuring this never happens again. We've both gained technology from this encounter. You've learned about our weapons, our shields, our capabilities. We've learned about yours. That knowledge is dangerous, potentially catastrophic. If either empire decides to use what we've learned to invade the other's universe, we'd have a multi-dimensional war that could destroy both galaxies. Mutually assured destruction, Vader observed. You're proposing a deterrence doctrine. Exactly. You don't attack us because you know we can devastate your galaxy. We don't attack you because you can devastate ours. Cold War logic. Mutually enforced peace through threat of total annihilation. Tarkin considered. Except we're separated by dimensional barriers. We cannot easily attack each other. The anomaly that brought us here was apparently unique, random. The chances of reproducing it deliberately are not as low as you'd think, Cross interrupted, pulling up new displays, scientific data, quantum calculations, dimensional physics that made even imperial scientists' work look primitive. We've been studying the anomaly intensively, and we've discovered something troubling. It's not unique. It's not random. There are weak points. Thin areas where the dimensional barriers between universes are naturally unstable. And if you know where to look, if you have the right technology, you can force them open. You're saying, Tarkin said carefully, that travel between our universes is possible with sufficient scientific capability. Not just possible, inevitable. We've mapped 17 potential breach points within our local sector alone. Eventually, maybe years, maybe decades, someone will figure out how to open them deliberately. And when they do, our universes won't be separate anymore. They'll be connected, adjacent, and empires being empires, as someone will decide to invade. Kaney took over, which is why we need an understanding, a treaty, between the Galactic Empire and the Terran Empire. Mutual non-aggression, mutual recognition of dimensional sovereignty. Neither side attempts to breach the barriers. Neither side invades the other's universe. We stay in our reality. You stay in yours. Forever. Vader's respirator hissed skepticism. You expect the Empire to sign treaties with aliens? To bind ourselves to agreements with powers we may never encounter again? I expect you to be pragmatic. If the alternative is multi-dimensional warfare that could consume both our civilizations, then yes, I expect you to sign. Unless you believe the Galactic Empire can fight a war on two fronts, the rebellion in your galaxy and us in ours, simultaneously. Silence fell. Because she was right. The Empire was powerful, but not infinitely so. Fighting the rebellion required significant resources. Adding a second war, against an equally ruthless, technologically sophisticated empire in a different universe would be strategically catastrophic. What would this treaty entail? Tarkin asked. Caney pulled up a document, legal language, remarkably similar to imperial treaty formats. Someone had done their research. Article 1. Neither empire will deliberately attempt to breach the dimensional barriers separating our universes. Article 2. Should accidental breaches occur, both empires will cooperate to close them immediately. Article 3. No military forces from either empire will enter the other's universe under any circumstances. Article 4. Any violations of these articles will be considered acts of war, justifying full retaliation. And enforcement? Who adjudicates violations? Who ensures compliance? Nobody. This is a mutual agreement based on mutual deterrence. You police your side. We police ours. If either side violates the treaty, the other responds with overwhelming force. Simple, brutal, effective. Tarkin read through the document, his legal mind analyzing every clause, every loophole, every potential trap. It was remarkably straightforward, surprisingly reasonable, almost suspiciously so. Why do you want this treaty, Captain Kane? Truly, you've demonstrated superior tactical position, superior local knowledge. You could theoretically trap us here, force us to serve Terran interests. Instead, you're sending us home and asking us to never return. Why? Caney's expression became, for the first time, genuinely honest. Because you terrify me, Grand Moff Tarkin, not personally, but strategically. The Death Star represents a philosophy of power I understand too well, total dominance through total destruction. We employ similar tactics, similar strategies. We're too much alike. And when two empires are this similar, this ruthless, this committed to absolute authority, they cannot coexist. One must destroy the other, or both must stay far enough apart to never threaten each other. She stood, walking to the viewport, looking at the Death Star. I've studied your empire's history, your rise, your methods, your emperor. He's brilliant, ruthless, patient, everything a conqueror should be. And if he ever gains access to our universe, he won't negotiate. He'll invade, systematically, methodically, exactly as we would invade yours if we could. And this treaty is preventative warfare, stopping conflict before it starts by ensuring it never can start. You assume we'd invade, wouldn't you? If you had access to an entirely new galaxy full of resources, if you could expand the Empire beyond anything currently imaginable, of course you would, just as we would invade your galaxy if we could. We're conquerors, both of us. It's our nature. This treaty just acknowledges that nature and channels it away from mutual destruction. Vader spoke, his voice thoughtful. You speak with more honesty than most diplomats. Most would claim peaceful intentions. You admit hostile ones and propose managing them through structured deterrence. It's refreshing and strategically sound. Thank you, Lord Vader. I'll take that as approval of the treaty concept. I don't approve, but I acknowledge necessity. The Empire cannot afford multidimensional war, not while the rebellion still exists, not while internal security remains threatened. Signing this treaty serves imperial interests. For now. For now is all any treaty really guarantees, Caney acknowledged. Future emperors, future captains, they might decide differently. But this establishes precedent, creates framework, makes future violations harder to justify. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Tarkin made his decision. I'll sign, on behalf of Grand Moff Tarkin, acting in the Emperor's interests. But understand, this treaty binds only those who choose to honor it. If elements of either empire violate it, the treaty provides no protection, only retaliation. Understood. We sign with the same limitations. Kaney activated a holographic signing interface. Commander Cross, witness. Lord Vader, witness. Let the record show that on this date, the Galactic Empire and the Terran Empire agree to mutual dimensional sovereignty and non-aggression. They signed. Holographic signatures appearing on holographic documents that would be transmitted to both empires' archives. Legal fiction, perhaps, but legal fiction that might prevent real warfare. When it was done, Kaney sat back down. Now, with that unpleasantness concluded, let's discuss the actual reason I invited you here. Tarkin's eyes narrowed. The treaty wasn't the reason. The treaty was necessity. This is curiosity. I want to understand you, Grand Moff, not as an enemy, not as a temporary ally, but as a fellow architect of empire. You've built something remarkable, a galactic civilization held together through fear and military might. I built something similar on a smaller scale. I wanted to meet you face to face, commander to commander, to see if what I suspected was true. And what did you suspect? That we're the same, fundamentally. We don't believe in democracy. Don't trust alien species. Don't think peace is achievable through negotiation. We believe power is the only language that matters, authority the only currency worth having, and we've both built empires that reflect those beliefs. I wanted to confirm that before you left, to know that somewhere in another universe there's an empire that understands what we understand, that we're not alone in our philosophy. Tarkin studied her, saw genuine intellectual curiosity and genuine desire for understanding from someone who recognized a kindred spirit. It was unexpectedly human, surprisingly vulnerable. We are similar, Tarkin acknowledged, disturbingly so. Our methods differ, our scales differ, but our fundamental beliefs, yes, we understand each other, which is precisely why this treaty is necessary, because mutual understanding between conquerors doesn't create peace, it creates perfect knowledge of how to destroy each other. Poetic, dark, and absolutely correct. Kaney raised a glass. She'd had wine brought in, a red vintage that looked expensive. A toast to empires, to emperors, to those of us who understand that order requires strength, and strength requires authority unchallenged. May we never meet again, because if we do, one of us won't survive it. Tarkin accepted a glass. Vader declined. His respirator made such gestures impossible. They drank. The wine was excellent, sophisticated, the kind of luxury only empires could afford. Captain Kane, this has been educational, but we have a timeline. The anomaly stabilizes in 8 hours. We should return to the Death Star, prepare for transition. Of course, but first, Kaney pulled up one final display. A gift from the Terran Empire to the Galactic Empire, free, no strings, no expectations. The display showed star charts, vast, detailed, covering regions of space the Empire had never mapped, species the Empire had never encountered, technologies the Empire had never imagined. This, Kaney explained, is everything we know about our universe, every hostile civilization, every technological innovation, every strategic weakness we've identified. We're giving it to you. Because if, despite our treaty, despite our best intentions, our empires do eventually clash, I want it to be a fair fight. I want you to know what you're facing. And I want you to know we're not giving this out of weakness. We're giving it out of respect. Commander to commander. Empire to empire. Tarkin was genuinely surprised. This is intelligence worth. I cannot calculate its value. Why give it freely? Because knowledge is only power if you can use it. And you can't use it here. You're leaving, returning to your galaxy. This intelligence is useless to you in your universe, but it shows good faith, shows we're not hoarding advantages, shows we're being honest about mutual deterrence. We're strong enough that we can afford to share our intelligence and still not fear you. That's real power, Grand Moff. Not holding secrets, but being so confident in our strength that secrets don't matter. It was a power move, disguised as generosity, demonstrating such overwhelming confidence that Kaney could give away critical intelligence and still not worry about it being used against her. Tarkin appreciated the psychological warfare, even as he accepted the gift. We don't have equivalent intelligence to offer. Our knowledge of this universe is limited to what you've shared. I know. Keep the gift. Learn from. Remember us. And remember that the Terran Empire doesn't make threats. We make promises. We've promised to send you home. We've promised not to invade your galaxy. We keep our promises. Always. Because our word is the only thing more valuable than our weapons. She stood. The meeting was ending. Commander Cross will escort you back to your shuttle. The anomaly will be fully stabilized in 7 hours. We'll coordinate transition protocols. And then, Grand Moff Tarkin, Lord Vader, you'll return to your empire, and we'll never see each other again. Almost certainly not, Tarkin agreed, standing as well. But, Captain Kane, if we do meet again, if circumstances force another encounter, I'll remember this. Remember that you chose cooperation over conquest, chose mutual survival over mutual destruction. The Empire doesn't forget such gestures. Neither does the Terran Empire. Now go, prepare your people. In 8 hours, you go home. Tarkin stood at the command railing, watching the anomaly through enhanced view screens. The dimensional tear was fully stabilized now, a swirling vortex of exotic energies, pulsing with power. He held in place by Terran science ships, surrounding it like midwives attending a difficult birth. Around him, the Death Star buzzed with activity, engineering teams preparing systems for dimensional transition, navigation calculating coordinates, weapons crews on standby in case the Terrans betrayed them at the last moment. Every system checked, double-checked, ready. Vader approached from behind. The Devastator has been transported to Terran possession. Their scientists are already examining it. Early reports suggest they're disappointed. They've discovered its obsolete technology. Have they complained? No. Captain Kaney sent a message. Quote, "Thank you for the educational relic. It's taught us much about imperial honesty. Fortunately, we learned what we actually needed through other methods. No hard feelings. Good luck in your galaxy." End quote. Tarkin's jaw tightened. She's admitting they conducted espionage, stole our technology despite our agreement, and doing so with such casualness, it's almost respectful. What will you tell the Emperor? The truth, edited. We encountered a hostile empire, negotiated our return, maintained imperial honor. The technical details, those will be classified. For security reasons, the Emperor need not know we were outmaneuvered by a culture of humans who embraced darkness as thoroughly as the Sith. You're protecting their reputation. I'm protecting imperial reputation. If the Emperor learns we were deceived, manipulated, and sent home with gifts after being spied upon, it reflects poorly on us. Better to report a draw. Both sides gain technology. Both sides maintain strength. Both sides parted as equals. That's acceptable. Admitting we were outplayed? Unacceptable. Vader's respirator hissed. You've learned from this encounter. I've learned that the Empire, for all its might, is not invincible. That there are humans in other universes who understand power as well as we do. That arrogance is a vulnerability we cannot afford. Yes, Lord Vader, I've learned, and so should you. The Force showed me visions during our time here, possible futures, possible conflicts. The Terran Empire appears in some, as ally, as enemy, as conquered subjects, as conquerors. The future is uncertain. Then we make it certain. We return home. We seal the anomaly from our side. We ensure the Terrans can never reach us. And we remember them as the enemy we never fought, but would have lost to if we had. You believe we would have lost? Tarkin turned, meeting Vader's masked gaze directly. I believe we would have destroyed each other. The Death Star's superlaser against their fleet. Their matter conversion weapons against our shields. It would have been mutually annihilating. And that's the only honest assessment. We weren't fighting primitives. We weren't fighting rebels. We were fighting ourselves. And when empires fight themselves, everyone loses. The communications console chimed. Sir, receiving transmission from the ISS Dominator. Captain Caney requesting final coordination before transition. Put her through. Caney's image appeared on the view screen. She looked tired. Days of intensive work stabilizing the anomaly showing in the lines around her eyes, but satisfied. Grand Moff Tarkin. We're ready. The anomaly is stable. Transition window is optimal. We can send you home now. Acknowledged. The Death Star is prepared. Coordinates locked. Systems ready. Good. Then this is goodbye. I'll say it was a pleasure, but we both know that would be a lie. It was nerve-wracking, dangerous, politically complex, but it was educational. I learned much about your empire, about you, about how similar our civilizations are. As did I. Your efficiency is remarkable, your ruthlessness admirable, and your willingness to let us leave when you could have tried to keep us. That shows strategic wisdom. Or fear. Maybe I'm just smart enough to know when an enemy is too dangerous to keep around. She smiled. But let's not psychoanalyze. You're leaving. We're staying. The treaty holds. Both empires survive. That's the best possible outcome. Agreed. Captain Kane, if circumstances ever change, if the dimensional barriers fail despite our efforts, if our empires meet again, I hope cooler heads prevail. I hope we remember this encounter. Remember that cooperation is possible, even between conquerors. I'll remember, Grand Moff. Whether future leaders do, that's beyond our control. We can only establish precedent, hope it's followed, and prepare for the possibility it won't be. Pragmatic to the end. Very well. Initiate transition sequence. Send us home. Transition in 60 seconds. Good luck, Grand Moff Tarkin. May your empire thrive in your galaxy, far from ours. And may the Terran Empire continue its conquest in your space, where it belongs. The transmission ended. The countdown began. Around the Death Star, Terran science vessels adjusted the anomaly's parameters, tuning it, focusing it, creating a stable corridor back to the home galaxy. All hands, Tarkin announced across ship-wide communications. Prepare for dimensional transition. Secure all stations. In 60 seconds, we return home. The Empire endures, the Empire survives, and the Empire remembers. Vader stood beside him. What will you remember most about this encounter? Tarkin considered. That humanity's capacity for empire building transcends dimensions. That darkness exists in every reality. And that sometimes the greatest victory is knowing when not to fight, when to cooperate, when to recognize an enemy too dangerous to conquer and wise enough to leave alone. The Emperor won't appreciate that philosophy. Then the Emperor won't hear it. This stays between us, Lord Vader. What we learned here, what we saw, how we were outmaneuvered, it's classified, forever. Understood? Understood. The countdown reached 0. The anomaly pulsed. Energy surrounded the Death Star. Dimensional energies, quantum fluctuations, forces that bent reality itself. The stars outside shifted, changed, became familiar. They were home. The Galactic Empire had returned. Captain Caney stood in her ready room, reviewing final reports. The Death Star was gone, returned to its native dimension. The anomaly had collapsed behind them, destabilized deliberately, ensuring no return trip was possible. The Galactic Empire and Terran Empire were separated again, permanently. Probably, Commander Cross entered, carrying data PADs. Final analysis is complete. We extracted everything. Complete hyperdrive specifications from passive scans. Shield technology from observed performance. Reactor design from energy signature analysis. Weapon systems from combat readouts. Even partial superlaser specifications from external examination. All without them knowing. And what we gave them? The Devastator was worthless, obsolete by 3 generations. They'll study it and learn nothing useful. And the intelligence we shared, the star charts, the civilization data, all accurate. We gave them real information about threats they'll never face, in a universe they'll never return to. Caney smiled. Perfect. We win, completely. They think they negotiated successfully. Think they maintained honor. Think they deceived us with their worthless Star Destroyer. And meanwhile, we have everything. Their technology, their secrets, their capabilities, all cataloged, all ready for exploitation. Should we begin prototyping? Build our own hyperdrive-equipped vessels? Eventually, but carefully, the Emperor, their Emperor, is not stupid. If we suddenly develop imperial technology too quickly, he might suspect, might investigate, might discover the dimensional barriers aren't as permanent as we implied. Better to slow roll our development, take years, make it look like independent innovation. By the time we have hyperdrive-capable fleets, the Empire will have forgotten about us. And if they haven't forgotten, then we'll have the technology to defend ourselves or attack them, depending on which seems more advantageous. She pulled up a holographic star chart. Their universe. Vast, conquered, but also limited. Commander Cross, what if I told you there's an entire galaxy out there, accessible with the right technology, full of resources we've never tapped? I'd say that sounds like a long-term conquest opportunity. Exactly. The treaty forbids us from deliberately breaching dimensional barriers. But treaties can be reinterpreted. Circumstances can change. And if, in 10 years or 20, we've developed the capability to reach their galaxy, and if we've determined they're weak enough to conquer, she trailed off, letting him complete the thought. We'd invade. We'd consider our options, very carefully. The Empire is powerful, but they're also fighting a rebellion, distracted, divided. If we attacked when they're weakest, used surprise and superior technology, we might be able to establish a foothold before they could respond effectively. Cross looked troubled. That would violate the treaty, the trust you established with Tarkin, the mutual respect. Respect is a luxury, Commander. Conquest is necessity. If the Terran Empire can expand by absorbing the Galactic Empire's territory, we will. Sentiment doesn't govern policy. Power does. And if they discover our intentions, if they prepare, if they're waiting when we arrive, then we have a war, a real war, between empires that understand each other perfectly. It would be catastrophic, brutal, possibly civilization ending. Kaney smiled coldly. It would also be glorious, a test of everything we've built, everything we believe, the ultimate expression of imperial will. You sound almost eager. I'm pragmatic. War between our empires is probably inevitable. The question is timing. We strike first, when we're ready, or we wait for them to strike. Personally, I prefer initiative. She deactivated the hologram. But that's future planning. For now, we celebrate. We encountered an unknown empire, survived first contact, extracted valuable intelligence, sent them home, and maintained Terran dominance in our space. That's a victory by any measure. To victory, then. To victory, and to future conquests, wherever they may lead. She looked out her viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond dimensional barriers that were thinner than either empire wanted to admit, the Galactic Empire continued its existence, building, conquering, growing. And someday, maybe soon, maybe distant, the barriers would fail. The empires would meet again, and this time there would be no cooperation, no treaties, no mutual respect between commanders. Just war. Total war. War between empires that knew each other's weaknesses, that had studied each other's tactics, that understood each other perfectly. The ultimate test of imperial philosophy. Only one empire would survive. Captain Leandra Kaney intended to make sure it was hers.